Here comes the second discussion section. We have invited Bonnie Lau, who is the director of Ming Gallery. Ms. Lau, would you please? Bonnie is going to share with us on a topic called the living culture of ICH, how local gallery promote traditional craft. Let me give you some introduction. Bonnie is the third-generation specialist in classical Chinese furniture. Currently, she is director of Ming Gallery. She collects a lot of Chinese classical furnitures, and she devote herself into mingling the old and the new so that we can present the classical Chinese furniture and to foster the exchange of West and the Chinese so that we can find Chinese classical furniture in daily life. I would like to pass the time to you. Thank you, Jaffa's invitation. I'm very happy to have a sharing with you all today. Let me share with you some of my background. I grew up in a carpenter family, starting from the generation of my grandfather. He is focusing in the carpentry. He started as an apprentice in the 1930s. After learning, he had a workshop in the 1940s to repair wooden furniture. As you can see in the images, it is the new promotion frame that we created from my grandfather in the 90s. My grandfather believed that in order to find your place in the society, you need to learn some craftsmanship. That's why he passed it on to my father. Since then, together with my grandfather, my father would repair wooden furniture and to create mirror frames. As they work together, Hong Kong has become a trading hub for Chinese antiques. A lot of overseas people, they come as individuals and groups to collect Chinese art pieces. Some local entrepreneurs are starting to develop their own antique collections as well. When my father works together with my grandfather, he has a foundation about wooden furniture. So he sees these golden opportunities and establish a Honming Antique Furniture Company, which specializes in the furniture in Ming and Qing dynasty. Our first spot in Shenzhen, Hollywood Road. As you can see, the layout in the store is very traditional. Since he has founded a place for Ming and Qing dynasty furniture, he still have not forgotten the craftsmanship of my grandfather. He has invited two craftsmen to work together with us. They are all very experienced. These two craftsmen has been with our family for over 20 years. Up to today, they are still operating the workshop. In the period which my dad worked together with my grandfather, I believe that the two generations had witnessed the golden era of local wooden industry. Because at that time, people think that if something broke at home, they would try their best to repair. It's quite different from the fast culture that we have today. When I was young, I remember that my dad would tell my grandfather they actually are very busy at work because there are only two of them. And it really takes time for you to create some handicrafts. As I grew up, I started to hear my dad saying that we have become a sunset industry now. We are a sunset industry because fewer and fewer people want to repair the furniture. And fewer and fewer people are interested to join the industry because carpentry works is hard labor and it is difficult for you to support the family. There are a lot of practical considerations. Therefore, as the demand is shrinking, my dad would think that we are becoming a sunset industry. How can we carry ourselves? When I hear it with my siblings, I have one younger brother and one younger sister. So the three of us think, well, for sure, it is sunset industry. Because my classmates are sitting on sofa, they are trendy, they are using Western furniture. Why would I be using all second-hand furniture at home? You still have to assemble them together before using it. Well, for the three of us, we did not appreciate and we did not like it, nor did we understand it. It is only until later I had a turning point. I had an activity with my friend, and my friend introduced me as coming from artist family, and I said, no, 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 we are only doing antique furniture, not arts, and I feel embarrassed. Strangely, though, this new friend started to ask me a lot of questions. She asked, are you doing the sculpting industry or other wooden industry? I am unable to answer any of her questions. At that moment, although I felt embarrassed, but more importantly, I found it weird. I am looking at all these furnitures day in and day out, and I have no interest in it at all. But how come my new friends are having tremendous interest in what I have at home? So I started to find out. Then later, I realized that the furniture I have are some Ming style furniture. There are many special features. One of them is the mortise and tenon structure. Because the classical Chinese furnitures are not assembled with nails. It's all by mortise and tenon. Therefore, when it is broken, it can be easily repaired. Because of that, Ming style furniture is still being used up to today. According to our standard today, of course, we think it is a green furniture because you can easily recycle it. Another features of Ming style furniture is about its design. It is having some very simple and minimalist design. Why is that so? At the end of the Ming Dynasty, the society is very prosperous, and a lot of the intellects would start to seek after taste. How can they show that they have good taste? So they would share about the aesthetic ideas with the craftsmen. And Ming style furniture is the collaborations of the craftsmen and the intellectuals at that time. Apart from its structure and design, Ming style furniture is also infused with a lot of philosophical ideas. We are deeply impacted by the Confucians idea. We always want to promote modesty and subtlety. You can find all these features in Ming style furniture. It's calm and restrained. As for the Dao, they focus on being natural and being one with heaven and earth. Therefore, the materials that we use is very natural. We choose the best type of wood so that people can appreciate the beauty of wood. So there is no additional decorations. As we begin to find out interesting stories, we started to ask, would there be any story that is related to our daily life? Sometimes we would say that some person is the number one of a certain organization, and in Chinese we said that they are sitting on the first chair. Why would we have such a metaphor? Well, this is a story that can be traced back to the Han Dynasty. At that time, the foreign people came to the Han Dynasty, and they also brought along with them a furniture that they a piece of seating that they put on horse. So it is called wucheng and also mazha because it is being used on horse. As it reached the Han Dynasty, it is being passed on to the Qin Dynasty. They are very afraid of the foreign people or the tribal people. Everything that consists of the Chinese character wu shows that it is coming from the foreign places. So they rename it so that the Chinese character Wu, which represents the foreign culture, will be disappearing. It is being called Gao Chao from now on. And the Chinese character of Gao has a meaning of crossed. So as you can see, there is a crossed structure on this piece of seating. And our ancestors are very creative. So later on, they add a backing on this seat so that they can sit more comfortably. And this is the birth of the piece of chair called Gao Yi. And it is a foldable chair that you can carry along. At that time, when the emperor is visiting the society, or even the rich people are going out for hunting, there will be servants bringing along this piece of a foldable chair, 交椅, so that when they need rest, they will unfold the chair so that they can sit on it. And later on, it has become a symbol of your social position. The impact of Ming style furniture is as far as Denmark. It is even affecting Danish furniture. Hans Wegner is a 20th century designer. He saw a disassembled Chinese chair in a museum. It is the first time that they see the structure of mortise and tenon, and he found it amazing. So he started to study about the structure of mortise and tenon. Starting from 1944, he has designed a series of Chinese chairs. At the right bottom corner, that is the China chair by Hans Wegner. If you compare it with on the left-hand side, which is a designed this chair in the Ming Dynasty, actually there are a lot of things in common. 400 years. Even when we look at the furniture created at the end of Ming Dynasty and the beginning of Qing Dynasty, we still find it very contemporary. That is why Ming style furniture is so fascinating. Because of the minimalist design, it can be timeless. It's not only we can still use it or make it functional today, we can also fit it into different interior designs. Since Hans Wegner has designed a series of China chair, and the most famous one is this one. This is a wishbone chair. In the 20th century, it was born in the 20th century. It has been very popular up to the 21st century. When we visit some shopping malls, friends' home, even some offices, we will still be able to find chairs of similar styles. Speaking of styles, there have been a lot of discussion about the styles of interior design. Some of you will prefer the Scandinavian design, which is a symbol of minimalist, or maybe the European style. Our pursuit of different style is a representation of our taste. It's a pursuit of our quality of life and our attitude. And I very much hope that when our friends come visit our homes, they will find our house modern and stylish, so we can subtly display our own taste. By that point, I started to understand that furniture is different from other craftsmanship because it is highly relevant to our daily life. Every day, we will sit and rest on a chair. It is very heartwarming. A piece of furniture can also be a witness of change within the family. Like my family, in the past, we always have a pair of wooden chair in the middle of the living room. After he came back to home, he would always sit on that. But since we have a dog a few years ago, we moved that pair of chairs to the corners of the wall, and it has now become a place for us to put on stuff. And it is witnessing the new members into our family. It is a symbol of memory and also a symbol of joy, a token of joy. As I study business administration, I learned that there is a lesson on organizational culture. It talks about how the culture of a company can lead the furthering of the vision of the team. It helps me to think that, well, actually, I can do that. The craftsmanship of my grandfather has passed on to my father, and my father is aging. Likewise, is our masters in our workshops. But still, our concept or our beliefs can be timeless. We can still manage our company in a fashionable way. Under this idea, I started to seek different entry points so that the traditional carpentry can be promoted to the general public. Because I grew up with the furniture, but even so, I have a hard time understanding the beauty of the furniture. That's why I understand without an entry point, it's very difficult for the general public to understand it or to appreciate the beauty behind it. So the first thing I do is a space renovation. In the past, we focus on the major structure, that is the major woodwork, and the furniture are being referred to the small woodwork, that is the minor pieces. On the other hand, it is talking about the relationship between the interior structures and the piece of furniture. So, is it possible for me to review the relationships between the two? By space renovations, I hope that we can provide a place of comfort so that people can enjoy the beauty of Ming style furniture. It has an emphasis on its lines and proportion. It has a golden proportion, and also it is a highly minimalist. All these elements require a spacious and calm environment so that we can truly appreciate it. Apart from renovating the space, we have also added in different elements. The simplistic features of Ming style furniture enable it to be put together with different artistic items. Our latest exhibitions is a crossover of African culture and Chinese culture. Well, maybe you think, how can we put together the African culture and Chinese culture? We have a painter from Morocco. He adopts a very colorful composition in his painting, together with the subtle and calm atmosphere of Ming style furniture. They can actually complement one another. And also want to bring on a message that maybe the Ming style furniture feels distant, but it is not old fashioned at all. Further on, it can be incorporated into our daily life. I often heard my last generation saying that I had a hard time understanding contemporary art. But we see a huge crowd visiting a contemporary art fair. From the news report, we see how the young people wait in line early in the morning so that they can get tickets. It proves that it is a irreversible trend. As an operator, can we become a bridge so that we can open a door for dialogue where actually the ancient world can blend together with the modern world? They can understand each other and have dialogues. We have invited two local artists to create some site-specific artwork for our spaces. Before the opening of the exhibitions, we have spent a long time communicating. We try to understand the concept behind the artwork and the message that they want to convey. After understanding the concept, we went back to our collection to look for some antiques. Well, perhaps this piece of antique can be put together with the artwork so that they can have dialogue together. This is actually a new attempt that we have with the artist, and it has become a motto of Hunmin Gallery, that is to admire the present, reverence the past. Our gallery located in Hollywood Road. There are many cafes along the road. One of them is, well, constantly full house. So I was thinking, apart from the coffee, is there anything special there? Later, I found out that they have added in some vintage styles. The place and curbs are adopting the patterns of the 80s and the 90s. By adding in the vintage elements, people will be able to recollect the memories of the good old past. It inspired me to think that we have to organize different activities in order to create experience. Through the experience, people would be able to create new memories. On the left-hand side, it is the opening ceremony of the Chinese and African culture exhibitions. Apart from the visual enjoyment, we also want to bring music to them. So we have invited musicians on Chinese erhu and African kora duet. There's one particular scene that is very remarkable to me. When this African musicians has explained how important this is to the African, he led all of us into a chorus singing. It is something in proto. So we sing for the first time, second time, third time, fourth time. Well, as we sing in unison, I am so touched. I believe that all the attendants today, the next time when they listen to the music of Erhu or the African choral duet, they will recall the memory that they had in Ming Gallery and the Ming style of furniture or the African painter that they have came across in the gallery on that day. Apart from that, we'll also welcome group visits. We hope that we can receive each and every of our friends in the most down-to-earth way because Ming style furniture is completely blended in our daily life. After space renovation, in a modern space, we display the Ming style furniture. Sometimes when I stand there, I found a strong sense of Zen. So, what can I collaborate it with? Then I think of yoga. So, we had a yoga activity at the gallery. Another experience is quite special. Recently, we receive a lot of young kids every day. These little kids are the friends of our dog. Well, this dog goes to work with us every day. When we work, it will sit next to the windows and enjoy the scene. So when the kids leave the school, they will always say hello to our dog. And recently, they moved from saying hello at the windows to sitting at the entrance and play with us. And since we see them at the entrance, of course, we'll welcome them in. Well, at first, they were quite shy and they did not want to come in. But as we become more familiar with them, they moved from greeting us at the entrance to playing hide and seek at the gallery. As you can see, when they play hide and seek, they are hiding under the table. Very often, the parents will be worried. They will say that, "Oh, I don't want to break your furnitures." And this actually opens a channel for us so that we can get in touch with people that we did not have a chance to talk to in the past. We will be able to share with them that it's okay for you to play hide and seek here. For the young kids, I believe that we are leaving them with a remarkable expression. Maybe in the future, when they see a similar dog or furniture, they will recall the memory of playing hide and seek with a dog at a gallery. They will say, "Oh, that is the furniture that I had once come across with." As you can see, we are creating different experience in the space. You can see how Ming style furniture are being a minimalist, but still it can be extravagant. In the end of Ming Dynasty, there is a special craftsmanship called Bakbohan. We are putting together a lot of different motifs, and we put them or we sculpt them on the wooden furniture. There will be gold, silver, copper, jade, and ivory. The materials are highly diversified, and it really reflects the peak of the Chinese craftsmanship at the end of Ming Dynasty. That's because we want to promote the aesthetics of wood furniture from different angles. So we work together with a local art institution to share about this traditional craftsmanship. The example that you saw is how we welcome people to experience and exchange ideas with us at the gallery. Actually, Dad and I will also have some outreach activities. For example, at the auction, my dad will conduct some guided tours as well as seminar. As for myself, I would collaborate with some brands and have some private sharing. Dad and I, two generations together, we have some very different management ideas. In the first picture, as you can see, in the past, our workshop is very traditional because the past generations believe that As a furniture store, we need to display all the items we have so that people will know what we have. But my belief is we don't have to do that. What we need to do is to create a space, a comfortable environment, so that first of all, people will know that what we're doing. Secondly, they will have an intention to step inside and exchange with us. Therefore, although we, the two generations, have different ideas, but we have a shared goal. That is to promote traditional wood furniture to the general public so that people will have a better understanding about the aesthetics behind the craftsmanship as well as its wisdom. This is my sharing of today. Thank you. Thank you, Bonnie. I am really happy. I kind of understand the content, but I think Bonnie has given us a great talk. You have shared us even with your heart. Yes, my own journey. No, not just your journey. I don't want to say that is your journey because that's actually your life. I can actually feel your heart. I would like to express my gratitude to Bonnie. As you can see in the last few slides, you will understand that Bonnie is very busy. She is doing a lot of works. She's not just organizing family businesses. You're also doing a lot of promotion. Yesterday, I had the opportunity to saw the book. I borrowed it from a friend. It is rich in content. Today, as I meet you, before I meet you in person, I have already met all your furnitures. Maybe you don't understand because of this ICH summit, our focus is to bringing culture and ICH alive. I have sat on that particular piece of chair in your space next to that table. When I was sitting there, I was so scared. I'm not sure if I'm allowed to sit on that. But she seems very casual. Yes, we are using that furniture on a day-to-day basis. No, I am not a shy person. I will always just sit on that because I am working on woodworks. As you can see, I have been on stage several times today, and I always have my hands on some particular spots. You know, we craftsmen will always want to lay hands on something beautiful. We want to leave our own scent on something that we like. But I really want to thank you for for lending us 8 pieces of furniture. But we did not, we do not have the opportunity to show all of them. Would you be able to introduce to us because we have 3 types of chairs here? I was quite greedy. I said I want different types of chairs, and I want all of them to be formal. As I put all of them together, I think maybe not all chairs can fit because on the stage or at a ceremony, it seems that we really expect a certain type of formal chairs. So Bonnie said, I will select 3 types of chairs for you. And I will ask, why are you selecting these 3 types of chairs? Let's talk about this type of Hunyi that is created at the end of Ming Dynasty at the beginning of the Qing Dynasty. These 2 types of chairs are specified for male because in the ancient world, the male are being superior to women. These type of chairs are being used at the more formal occasions. For example, when the officials are greeting their friends, they will make use of these types of chairs because as you sit on it, well, naturally, you will sit uptight. Well, in the past, they will not be dressing like us when they are sitting on the rope. So first of all, you will be sitting upright, and the rope will be extending to the ankle. So it gives you a sense of formality. And as you put your hands on your arms, well, you're giving me a very solemn feeling even when I'm looking at you now. When I'm sitting on it this morning, I think that this type of chair, well, I know that it is a chair for the premier that we have in the emperor era. But when I'm looking at this chair, I can't help but paying attention to the curves here. It feels very feminine to me. When I was in Jiangnan at that time, I noticed that there are different kinds of chair for female, which is smaller in size. I slightly think that I'm being discriminated against by this chair because no matter how I sit, I would not be able to put my arms on it. It is really specifically designed for men, but for a female, well, for the female in the past, they are sitting on a type of chair called 玫瑰椅, the rosary chairs. It is not that comfortable for them to sit on because they are always ready to serve the masters. And they have no positions to sit very comfortably or to rest their back on the chair. That's why, relatively speaking, the female chairs are smaller. We have been talking about the living style just now, and people think that I don't find Ming style furniture comfortable. But the most comfortable chair that I found is this chair called Gunmo-yi because the handles is not that high, so I can just put my arms right on it, and my neck can be rest on the back of the chair. Nowadays, we are always talking about ergonomy. Actually, the object of form has to follow the function so that when we sit on it, we will not harm our spines and we can sit upright. The second aspect is to show our gesture, a sense of formality. I think it is related to our lives, and that is also a kind of attitude, as you said. The female's chair is uncomfortable because you have to stand up constantly, and it is also smaller in size and on the sides, while the male will be sitting in the middle. But as for the social status nowadays, can female be sitting in the middle? Yes, of course. You and I are both female, and we're sitting here. Something interesting is yesterday when we are preparing for the chairs, my father usually sit on this kind of Hunyi in the company, but because we have moved them up, and because we're moving away the Hunyi, so my dad was sitting on another types of Gunmo-yi. And he finds them more comfortable because it has a good support on your back. What about that chair far away? This chair is called Danggua-yi. Well, actually, the Gunmo-yi, the one that you're sitting on, there is another name. As you can see at the back and also the handles, you can find 4 spots that is reaching out. And for this one, you can find only 2 spots that is reaching out. And it comes from the southern China. On the southern China, in the kitchens on the wall, they will always have a structure for people to put their lamps on, which looks similar to this type of chairs. That is the origin of this design. Well, I see that you are only putting the furnitures in your space, and I know that you have the dog. I have a cat at my home. I did not keep any Ming style furniture. I am kind of worried. You can bring it home. Did you? Well, I want to share from a layman perspective. Of course, there will be collectors collecting furnitures for appreciation, but I'm talking about an ordinary person. Can you create something smaller in size? Can I understand if it can fit in with my child at home? In terms of publicity, do you find it difficult or not at all? Talking about promotion, I think the hardest part is to help people feel that Ming style furniture is not something old fashioned, and it takes time to wash away the old impression. Because whenever people learn that it is from the end of Ming Dynasty, they will think that it is a piece of antique and it is not for us to use. I hope that, as I have shared, I would like to break this impression through different entry points. As their impressions are changed, they will be interested to find out more. I think it is a long process because our understanding towards the vintage items really really takes time for us to redefine the way that we see the vintage items. Well, actually, I'm quite curious. We have a number of chairs here. We have been talking about how precious they are. Uh, would it ever be possible for us to reproduce them? Because in craftsmanship, we have been discussing about the passing on of inheritance. Since it is not that old anymore, would it be possible for us to reproduce it? Can we have it in the market? Well, if you go on to Taobao, you will be able to find a lot of sellers reproducing Ming style furnitures. I think for those who are not quite sure if you really like it or not, you can try that as an entry point, because this type of Ming style furniture is from the end of Ming Dynasty and the early Qing Dynasty. But for those factories, they might not be using that kind of precious wood materials. Maybe the shape will be similar, but the materials is different. You can take that as an entry point. Can you tell if it is a reproduction or if it's a real thing? Maybe you have to come closer in order to tell. Yes, because we have some authentic items. Since they are all old furniture, uh, because of the time, it seems that they are being blended together. We have masters teaching about the techniques, but what's past is past. As you have passed it on, when the second generation stepped in, then over time, as they accumulated their own experience, they can actually create something that is not too different from the past, at the same time fitting in the needs of the time. At a certain point of your PowerPoint, I recognize that you are the person who help people to appreciate as well as your dad. So what kind of appreciation are you enlightening people to? Let me put it this way. I believe that vintage items believe an interpreter of the time, because the antiques are unable to communicate with you. But at different times, with different lenses, you will be able to see different kinds of beauty. I think I am a person or a bridge who reinterpret Ming style furniture. I'm sorry, I have been taking up too much airtime. I'm asking too many questions. I know there are some diehard fans in the audience. I'll give you some time to ask questions. If you are very curious about what Bonnie shared, please ask. Can we allow some of them to come on stage and try on? Will you are you waiting until you can sit on the furniture before you want to raise the questions? Here is the perks of being at the venue. I really want to tell you, it's great to sit on. I can still find some cracks here. Yes, it is from the history. We really like these kind of marks. We will try our best to preserve these marks of times, because, as I said, furniture is a witness of history as well as our lives. Because there are people using them, that's why you can find marks on them. Therefore, as we repair them, we will try our best to preserve these marks. Okay, you preserve it intentionally. Do you want to come and touch it? Okay, it is not being planned, but I think it's okay. You can come and sit on it. How do you feel? I think you are studying ICH. I think you can appreciate it, right? Well, I am an architecture student. I've been focusing on the back of chair for a long time. When I was studying architecture, it is the first time that I learned about the major woodwork and the minor woodwork. I think this is what I have in the first lecture of architectural history. He is showing a piece of European chair, saying that it is actually the first piece of architecture in human history. Our difference between humankind and animals is that we are able to find another thing to sit on. That is very remarkable. That's why I have been focusing on that back of chair for a long time. Bonnie, he is our intern from Brown Sugar Techniques. After sitting on this chair, please send a blown sugar work of in the figure of fish to Hunming Gallery as an exchange. Is there anyone in the audience who would like to come and sit in the chair or ask questions? We only have 47 seconds. Okay, please come. Hello, Barney. And hello, Jaffa. I am very happy to be able to attend the event today. I am a design and build project director, and I also take care of some constructions projects. In our project, furniture is a crucial element because it's a particle and also it is it's not just a functional items. It is exist here because it brings us warmth, just as Bonnie have said. In terms of promotion, traditional furniture is not easy to be accepted by the general public, and it is also very costly. So when we do design, we will adopt the four approaches of Chinese medicine by looking, by smelling, by touching, etc., so that people will be able to understand it. I would like to ask questions because I can see your passion in promotion, and I can also sense the rich depth of knowledge that you have from uninterested to be highly interested. And as Java Lam, you have said, from dot to line to services, these are all some very key elements for those like us who are in the business of arts and design. We always want to be a problem solver. How can you take care of the logical thinking? Because it's very important. We have to inherit. We have a keyword today that is the petitioner. How can we interpret thinker maker into a petitioner so that from generation to generation we would be able to interpret the craftsmanship with an idea of contemporary arts? Of course, you have a unique mindset. Ms. Java Lam, you also have a unique thinking system. We really need to train the trainer so that we can continue to pass on these unique think pattern. And I want to see how you would suggest us to do it better. You have mentioned one point, that is how can you have asked questions about continuation. I believe that this is one of the key themes of our event today. The difficulties we have today in promoting ancient art is because people don't understand why do we need to promote cheap power, because no one is wearing it anymore. Maybe in the last century, we don't need to promote it at all because it's something that we're wearing every day. So how can we fill in this gap? Going back to my sharing, we have to first understand. How can we begin understanding? Personally speaking, I started to dig into some interesting stories. First, I understand about the Wu Chang, that kind of chair or that piece of sitting, and the kind of melon that we used to call it Wu Gua because it's from the foreign tribes, but later on we are changing this as just melon, Wang Gua in Chinese. So these are the interesting stories that I am interested in. I'll take that as a starting point, and then later on I find out how the Chinese furniture is affecting the Danish furniture. I believe that cultures are affecting one another. Likewise is design. From the design, I would be able to understand the pursuit of intellectual thinking of the knowledgeable people at that time. We might need to collaborate with media and the teachers as well as the schools so that together we can fill in this gap. Thank you for your questions. I would like to briefly respond. Maybe you know I am from the contemporary art sector. In the past, I focused on handicrafts. As I was studying my master degree, I spent some time to mainland China to learn about lacquer making. However, due to my allergies issue, I cannot continue my learning. But when I was practicing about lacquer making, I can apply that techniques into the wooden sculptures that I do later on. I have been so many years on carpentry, and now I am focusing on fabrics and textiles. When I look at the ICH, it never occurred to me that whether or not a certain item is ICH or not, because as I create, I have been constantly learning about it. It's just that in the past, there's no such title saying that I'm learning ICH such and such. One of the key points of contemporary arts is the way you look at things. It provides you with an angle to look at different things and to think. That's why I have been emphasizing the concept of thinker maker. This is our future path to go, because we are persons with thinking, and our thinking will be changed as time passes on, and we echoes with one another, and as we respond to our times, then our creation will also respond accordingly. Are we really going to inherit ICH? I think Bonnie is saying it very correctly. In my times, we don't need to inherit. I would only think that I really like it so much. Therefore, on this particular topic, I think it shouldn't be an issue at all. What we're doing now is to dusting what we have on the surface. You can see the item is actually still shining. I think that would be my response to your questions. Thank you very much. Because of time, I would like to conclude this dialogue here. Once again, thank you, Jaffa and Bonnie. Thank you very much.